Hello, welcome back. Today I wanted to give an update on my Physical TBR challenge. I have been doing the spin the wheel on my Physical TBR. I did a massive unhaul of books and we started this series with about 77. I will confirm, I'll put it right here with the number of books we started with. And we have read some, we have DNF'd a few, I've pulled a couple extra off and donated those that I just knew I wasn't going to read after another run through of the books that were left. And yeah, so let's go through everything I've read so far on my Physical TBR. The first book that I spun for was an absolute banger. It really started off on a strong note, was Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. This book was incredible. Really good character work, really good character development, some really great training sequences that really prove to you that this character has grown and learned and adapted. One of my least favorite tropes is when the main character is already a badass at everything and already knows how to do everything. I love seeing them work for it. It makes it feel really real and really grounded for me. And I'm just so intrigued by this world and I want to know more. To sort of set the scene, this is a bit of an African-inspired fantasy, and at the beginning of the book, this is like the prologue, so no spoilers, unless you want to go in totally blind, but we have what essentially appears to be a colonizing force come to this coast and storm the beaches and colonize there. And then we flash forward a couple decades. I can't remember how many, it might be even more than like a century, to our main character, Tao, as he is now living in this country, and they are constantly at war with the native population. So I'm fascinated to learn more about the origins of this society and the magic system. And yeah, this was just really, really good. It was a 5-star read for me. Then I spun and I got Mine Till Midnight by Alicia Kleypas. This was not my first Alicia Kleypas, but she is new to me this year, and I had a really nice time with it. I think this solidifies a theory that I have, that in these historical romance series where they are interconnected standalones following a family, the first book feels like setup for the rest of the series, and so you get a little bit less time with the couple of this main book, but it was still good. I really enjoy Kleypas's writing, and I'm absolutely looking forward to reading more by her, but this was a 3 stars for me. Then I spun and got Detransition Baby by Torrey Peters. This is a book that centers around the relationship between 2 trans women and how they navigate their relationship and an accidental pregnancy. So this is a messy and very real account of what it's like to be trans, and also what it's like to just develop as a person and try and have relationships, and sort of the messiness of it all, and how we navigate those difficulties with ourselves and also with other people. I really liked it. This was smart and entertaining, and I would really recommend it to anyone, especially someone who like me, enjoys reading about experiences from people who are not like me. Then I already got rid of this book. I DNF'd Any Trope But You by Victoria Lavine. At one point, I was actually yelling in my car about this book. I had grabbed it on Spotify and I was listening to it. And the main character was just so insufferable and so annoying, and I could not continue. So sorry if you liked it, but I DNF'd it. Then I spun and got Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This was really good. It was beautifully written. It just didn't connect with me. I think I knew too much about it going into it. So many of the specific lines had been spoiled. I've said that before in previous videos, but I think people will still enjoy it. It's just that this really is one of the pinnacle books of book talk, and so it's hard to not know a lot about it before going into it. Then I picked The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue after reading Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil, and this was a 5-star read for me. I loved this so much. We have Addie, who is cursed to live forever, but no one will ever remember her. I thought that was such a clever device, and actually living the days of Addie as she tries to just get through the day. Basically, if someone leaves the room, they forget who she is. And so she has to be in constant contact with them for them to remember who she is in that interaction, or they forget. And I thought that was a really fascinating device, like I said. And I just really, really related to Henry, the bisexual human disaster that he is. I loved him so much. And I thought the dynamics between Luke and Addie were also really fascinating. I think those two are actually really, really well matched. And I would love if V.E. Schwab would write more about Luke and Addie personally. But really, really loved this book. Then one of the book clubs that I was a part of for a while picked One Golden Summer by Carley Fortune for their June book, which was perfect because I had pre-ordered it in May and I didn't read it. So this was really, really great. This is, if you've read by Carley Fortune, she wrote Every Summer After, and that was a second chance romance, high school sweethearts reconnecting at the main male character's mother's funeral. And I didn't love that one. I think I had a hard time with that one because I had just read Love in Other Words and the storylines were very, very similar. And at the time I really preferred Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. But this was everything. This was a 5-star romance book for me. We had really richly developed side characters. I love Alice's grandmother. She was amazing. And I actually really developed more of an appreciation for Percy and what's his butt? Elliot, maybe? I think Elliot might be from Love in Other Words. Clearly, Every Summer After was really impactful. But anyway, Sam, that's his name, Sam. Percy and Sam were really cute in this one, and I really liked them as side characters rather than the main characters. Charlie was sexy and funny, and I liked the evolved version of him that we got compared to the previous book. And yeah, I just loved this. This was tightly paced. This was emotionally impactful. I believed that these characters would stay together after the end of the book. It was sexy, it was fun, and it was not cringy. So I loved it. Then I spun and I got Mary by Nat Cassidy, and I loved this. I am truly amazed at Nat Cassidy's ability to write the female experience. The first book I read by him was Nestlings, and that one is all about sort of postpartum rage and becoming a mom and the depression and heartbreak that you feel as you lose your identity, but your utterly deep devotion to your child in spite of all of that really impressed me. And I was shocked when I found out that Nat Cassidy was a man. And I'm equally shocked that he wrote this book, a book about femininity and what it means to age as a woman and how you become invisible as you get older and you are no longer perceived as sexy and useful by the terms of society. And yeah, this was awesome. I had so much fun with this, and I will absolutely be rereading. Then I spun and got This Is How You Lose the Time War. Another 5 stars. I loved this so much. I will recommend this to anyone. This was such a tightly packed book. It's 198 pages that ended up having one of the most deep and yearning and aching romances that I've ever read. I'm so impressed. I loved it. Then we spun and got 2 more DNFs, Love in the Time of Serial Killers and Elektra. And my impressions on Elektra led me to also unhaul Ariadne, just not interested. And Love in the Time of Serial Killers, I read a little bit more of compared to Elektra. It just was cringy and I didn't like it. And I was honestly kind of irritated with the way that the gimmick of the book was sort of given up within the first 30% of the book. So those are no longer on my shelves, but it's fine because it's all in service of reducing the number of unread books that I own. So yeah. Now let's move to books I am currently reading from my physical TBR, and I'll let you know if I spun for them or picked them. The ones I spun for are Great Big Beautiful Life and The Two Towers by JRR Tolkien. I know I'm going to take a longer time to read this, so I wanted 2 at the same time because this one will be a quicker read for me. I'm excited to get into this one. And then I've decided to do a tandem read of Two Towers and Return of the King. The Chris and Mads Patreon did a breakdown of how to switch back and forth between these two to match the pacing of the movies. So I'll be doing that. This will probably take me about 2 months or so, I think. I picked The Witness for my next Grandma's Bookshelf series. So this was just a pick by me, but I'm enjoying it so far. I'm doing a buddy read for Anji Kills the King. This was perfect because I already owned it. And then I decided I want to make time in August for the guy she was interested wasn't a guy at all. So I will keep you posted. I'm not sure when this video is going to go up in the month of August. So chances are right now we will be switching to another clip of me from the future to give you an update. But that's all I have for now. I'll see you later. Hello from the future. We're back with the most up-to-date update on my physical TBR challenge. I'm going to give you an updated number first. So my updated number is now 55. And the reason it's gone down so much is because I've picked off a couple ones for upcoming book clubs I have going on. And then I also want to make a video about horror books. So I picked off all of my horror that I currently own that's not read, which is 7 titles. I'm going to read all of those and do a video for spooky season. So removed those. And yeah, let's just update you on how it's been going. So in the last clip, I said I was reading Lord of the Rings, The Witness, and Great Big Beautiful Life. So the first book I did finish was Great Big Beautiful Life. For me, I came in with this one at about a 3.25 star rating. This is a rare case where I actually think that a contemporary romance book should have been longer. I wanted more character depth. I wanted more backstory, more time, more memories. I just wanted a little bit more. Every individual element of this I really, really loved, and I still really, really love Emily Henry's writing. If I had to harp on sort of one thing that I would have changed within the amount of pages that were given, was maybe just a little bit of the backstory of Maggie or Margaret, right? There was a couple of the reflection chapters that were just about her family, and that was all fine and interesting, but I think it did a bit of disservice because then we didn't get enough time with her in the flashbacks or her relationship in the flashbacks. So that was my struggle with that, but I still really loved it. Classic Emily Henry, not disappointed by any means, but it just doesn't hold up quite as well to her other titles, at least for me. But let me know. I know this release was a bit contentious, if you can even say that. People just had, differing opinions about it. But yeah, I did really like the romance side plot or subplot, main plot, whatever. The romance in this was really, really good. I loved all the tension. There was some really great tension that was built here. So definitely still enjoyed. Then I also finished for my buddy read, I finished Anji Kills a King. This was unfortunately like a 2-star read for me. I heard a lot of people say this was fast paced. It certainly was short. I don't quite know if I would call it fast paced though, because without giving too much away, the main characters were traveling a lot, which is fine. I'm not opposed to a quest novel. However, there was almost not a lot happening on the quest. When the two characters were talking, Anji would be, like, hey, why are we doing this? And her captor was like, you don't need to know. And then 2 seconds later, what are we doing? Shut up. It was just very, very repetitive dialogue. And then, in the name of sort of keeping information held back from us as a reader, unfortunately, I think Anji was then written to be sort of flat and sort of incompetent, whereas I think she was supposed to be naive. And I just was like, she never thought about certain things that I thought she would. She never contemplated or thought back because the author didn't want us to know those things yet. And I just didn't feel like that was very real. And I'm definitely curious enough to see where the rest of this goes when the sequel comes out. I believe this was signed on for a 3-book deal. But yeah, this one was not a strong start for me, unfortunately, but I would still love to hear what you guys think about it if you've read it. I forgot to mention in my last video, although maybe I hadn't started it yet, I also pulled off Harrow the Ninth. I'm about 40% of the way through this. I have been extremely distracted by the live ship traders. I read Mad Ship and Ship of Destiny this month, so that has been completely taking over my time and my brain space and my heart. But I just finished Ship of Destiny, and I'm gonna take just a baby breather before I go into Tawny Man, just to make some progress on some other books and like clean up the books I have going at once, because it's just a little bit too many. I can normally handle about 2 to 3 going at once, and I think I'm up to like 5 or 6, which is just crazy. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It is confusing, but I don't think to the detriment of the reading experience. I'm sort of just letting anything that's confusing gloss over my brain, and I'm not stressing about it too much. I'm making steady progress on The Witness, and my mom keeps asking me for updates, so I really need to finish this one. I did actually just grab it from Libby on Kindle so that I can read it before bed, because I do love a little romance, in the evening. That sounds not the way that you think it does. It's not like heavy brain on reading. So yeah, I'm making progress on this guy. And in that same vein as well, slowly making progress into The Two Towers, but I'd be lying if I said I'd given a lot of time to this yet. I really haven't. But I will. After Great Big Beautiful Life, I spun and I got Again the Magic by Lisa Kleypas. I loved this one. I was so excited for it based on the synopsis. It's a second chance romance. Essentially, Aileen and McKenna are sort of caught in this tawdry affair when they're younger. It's a forbidden love. Lady Aileen is obviously a woman of society. She lives in the manor house with her family, and McKenna is I don't think he's a stable hand. I think you have a stable hand, but he works on the property and they fall in love. And so I was so excited for the whole concept of it. I was disappointed though because the book ended up being split between Aileen and McKenna's romance and then Aileen's sister and her love interest, their romance. And I just wanted Aileen and McKenna, to be honest. I didn't mind the sister. I honestly thought that had enough going on to be its own book as well. There was a lot of like deep emotional conflicts that the two of them were going through. So this was like a 3.5-star read for me because I didn't like that it was about 2 couples. I wanted just one, but I still really enjoyed it. And the parts about Aileen and McKenna were very delectable. There was also a lot of sex in this book. So if that's what you're looking for, then this is what you need to read. I mentioned in the first segment that I was going to be reading The Guy She Was Interested In Wasn't a Guy at All. I read this in one afternoon. It was so cute. I will absolutely be picking up the sequel or the next volume. And yeah, just really fun, queer, adorable, like awkward, but not so awkward that you can't read it. Yeah, just had a really good time with this. And that brings us to my most recent spin. I have not started this. I will not start it until I finish more of these other books, but I spun and I got The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. This will be my first book by Joe Abercrombie, so I'm definitely excited. Yeah, I'll keep you posted. But that's how my physical TBR is going. I'm absolutely loving this challenge. I think my goal of getting under 30 by the end of the year, I think it's doable. I think it's really doable. So hang around to see me keep on reading. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.